Hi everybody, thanks for joining me today. If this is your first time visiting my channel, my name is Lula and I live in Zone 8. Some months ago I did a video. It was entitled How to Make Your Own Cheap DIY Potting Mix using 3 key ingredients, and I used peat moss, compost, and vermiculite. That video, I got so many responses from that video and I really loved reading all the comments. But some of the comments I got were asking me about using coconut coir. Now, I have never used coconut coir in my garden before, and one of the reasons I don't use it is because it's hard to find coconut coir in bulk here in Zone 8. I looked all over trying to find it in bulk. They do have it in the stores, some of the big box stores. They have the coconut coir that is already ready to go right out of the bag. You don't have to add water to rehydrate it or anything. And it comes in small bags, so it's really not economical for me to buy it that way. But the only way I could find the coconut coir that I needed in bulk, which was like a 10-pound block of coconut coir, was to order it online. So I ordered some online, and today I'm going to make another soil medium that you can use in your garden, your container pots for your vegetables and things. And this time I'm going to use coconut coir instead of the peat moss. So 3 ingredients: coconut coir, compost, and vermiculite. I use the vermiculite to help with the drainage. Before I get started, I want to talk about the advantages to using coconut coir and some disadvantages to using coconut coir. Advantages to using coconut coir is, number 1, it is a renewable resource. It is sustainable because it's made from coconuts. It can hold 10 to 20 times its weight in water, so the water retention is great, and I'm hoping that will help me to cut back on some of my watering. Another good thing about the coconut coir is that it can be reused again, so you can use it more than once. And then finally, the coconut coir has a neutral pH, meaning that it will slowly release nutrients to your plants. The peat moss was more acidic, which my blueberries and things loved it. Some of the disadvantages to using coconut coir is you have to rehydrate it with water. And if you live in an area where you are under water restrictions or you don't have a lot of water to rehydrate it, then that could be a problem, because that 10-pound block is going to have to be rehydrated with water. Another disadvantage is that coconut coir can contain large amounts of salt, which can kill your plants. So if there are some manufacturers out there that have coconut coir that is low in salt, that's good. There may be some, I'm just not aware of it. So check around and make sure you can get some coconut coir that doesn't have a high salt content in it. Another disadvantage of using coconut coir is that I found it to be quite expensive. It's not as cheap as buying a big compressed bag of peat moss. So buying it online, I found that it did cost more than the peat moss did. And finally, coconut coir has no nutritional value. It has very low NPK in it, so you will have to fertilize it or add some type of compost to it, which I am going to do today. But to be fair, peat moss doesn't have a lot of nutritional value either. So I'm going to get started and rehydrate my 10-pound block of coconut coir. But first I want to show you what the block looks like. And I also want to show you a bag of coconut coir that is ready to go right out of the bag that I bought from one of the big box stores. So this is a coconut coir block that I bought. It's just a big old block and it's hard, so I'm gonna have to add some water to it. And then I also have some coconut coir that is already been hydrated. I'll show you what it looks like. And this is what this looks like. Actually, it's not hard to come. Once it starts really getting wet, it just falls apart. So I took a little break because it rained. We had a little rain shower. But I am back, and I have rinsed off the coconut coir, and this is what it looks like. Really rich brown color. I also had some more left over. So this is a container that I had left, and then this is a container that I had left. All of this came from that rig. So I ended up adding my 3 buckets of coconut coir. This is the bucket that I use. 3 buckets of the coconut coir and 3 buckets of the compost. And I'm gonna put 1 bucket of vermiculite. And remember, I added a little bit of perlite in there because I ran out of vermiculite. So if you don't have vermiculite, you can use coconut coir. If you don't have vermiculite, you can use perlite. So just use what you have, and don't worry about trying to run to the store to find you some vermiculite if you got the perlite. So the vermiculite is just going to help with the drainage and the perlite as well. Alright guys, here it is. So this is the finished product. One thing I'm noticing about this mixture here is I did not have to add any more water to it, even after I mixed it with the compost and the vermiculite. It still looks moist, so it is really holding on to the water. And I can tell a big difference between this and the peat moss, because you know when you water the peat moss, it takes a lot of water to get that peat moss to get moistened because it's so dry. But in all fairness, this one seems to be holding on to the water more, which I think will be good for my plants. And I love the nice rich color of it, so I'm gonna give it a try. With the weather being hot as it is, I'm hoping that this will be good for my plants to help them to retain moisture where I don't have to water them as often as I am now. So I went back and I measured the coconut coir that I had left over from that big square block. And I measured it with the green bucket that I used to measure this wheelbarrow that I just made of coconut coir. And I found that, to my amazement, I can get 6 more containers from this coconut coir that you see here. So in other words, instead of having 1 wheelbarrow of soil mixture, when I mix this up with some more compost and some more vermiculite, I will get 3 wheelbarrows of soil that I can use. How about that? I will get back with you and let you know how it goes. I'm going to plant some things in it and just give it a try. So I hope you enjoyed this video. It was so much fun doing it, and I will see you on the next one. Bye bye. Take care.